Alright guys, welcome back to the channel. Welcome to another video. Today we're taking the LRSSJ Goku into Extreme Super Battle Road. We're doing Super INT or versus Extreme Tech, however you want to put it. We've got him on a Super INT team, essentially on a Legendary Existence slash Super Saiyan team. So that's a quite fun way of doing it, I guess. And yeah, we're going to see what he can do. We're going to pop a Whis to begin with. Now immediately, I said this when we done Frieza as well. Immediately, I think obviously as well, Frieza is definitely the better unit for shorter events like SBR and ESBR, etc. Just for the sole fact that you're able to get off and utilize the extra attack and defense plus 100% that he then loses after 6 turns, considering you refresh going into every new battle. Whereas obviously a longer drawn out event like Legendary Goku event, he loses that after 6 turns. Yes, he's still great in there because he's doing so much damage because of the extra 50% on attack that he gets against super enemies. He then has extra attack anyway after the 6 turns from the 7th turn onwards. And then also crits Goku units. But you can definitely kind of utilize him and make the most of him a bit more in the SBR as a short event. Whereas Goku doesn't have that. He doesn't lose anything after a certain amount of turns. Like, he's already getting attack and defense for 159%. The extra additional attack plus 59%. And then if you are facing extreme units, which in this case we actually are, we're getting the extra 59% on attack as well for that. So yeah, in terms of, as I said, short events, immediately, as I said before, the Frieza will be better than Goku. But Goku will still probably do a very good job in the likes of SBR and ESBR. The only thing that is a downside, what kind of a downside is, you can't stack them up as much. You can't build up their attack on Ultra Super Attack for Goku or build up his defense on normal Super Attack that much, because obviously it's not a longer drawn out event like the Goku event. Of course, when you get to the end, when things are a little bit more difficult and there's a bit more health involved or there's more units, you might be in the event a little bit longer, so you can build it up a little bit, which obviously will help. It will be a factor, but obviously Goku event, with it not having essentially going into a new battle each time, being drawn out, you're obviously going to be building up the attack and defense a hell of a lot more. We've seen that when we took him in there a while ago, where we had his defense on what, I think 650k, which is just ridiculous. Yeah, Goku will still do well here, but I think Frieza definitely does edge the SBR and ESBR aspect. As I said, with his passive having extra attack and defense plus 100%, that you can utilize a lot more and keep using a lot more, because he doesn't lose it, as I said, you go into new battles each time. So yeah, but as I said, Goku should still do well here because they're just such good units in general. They're that good. So yeah, I don't think it's too much of a problem, but I do think Frieza will probably edge it, in my opinion. So first stage down, moving on to the next. Are they all extreme? I mean, yeah, is it all extreme? Of course it's all extreme. That's stupid. Yeah, I completely forgot. We're facing Extreme Tech because of the ESBR, because like, we don't have that many categories at the moment in ESBR. So yes, we are facing extreme units, which we're constantly going to have the extra 59% of Goku's passive active when facing an extreme class unit, which is good as well. Of course, at some points, you obviously won't have that because you obviously won't always be facing, you know, an extreme type unit in ESBR. But specifically for this one, we have, which is obviously a nice little benefit to have, because it means he's going to be doing extra damage, which is something you kind of want in ESBR, to get through each phase or each stage, obviously a bit quicker. But yeah, Goku will still do well here. He'll still do a job. He'll still work really well. As I said, he will do a lot of damage, especially if you're taking him into, for example, like we have versus Extreme Tech on a Super INT team. If there are, you know, extreme enemies popping up as well along the way, he'll be doing that extra damage. Of course, if there is a Frieza unit along the way as well, or at the end, which some of them are, I can't remember which ones, you will be doing a lot of damage, of course, because not only will you be getting the extra 59% off for facing an extreme class enemy, but you'll also be getting off those crits and just absolutely, I mean, you saw it when we took the Frieza in there, and we had, you know, I think is it Super Saiyan 3 Goku, Gohan, and Goten, or is there more? I can't remember. It might be Trunks and Vegeta as well. But, you know, there was a Goku enemy. We could pretty much one-shot the Goku. I say one-shot. It took him 2 hits, but we one-turned him. We literally super attacked him, got the additional, Goku was dead. So it definitely helps. As I said, you can't get it off a lot. We're actually going to keep them both. He actually gets a lot of links off with the Gogeta. Copy in there, get his old super attack off. So we actually have Gotenks as a floater then. That works out like that. But yeah, they're just both very good units. Very, very good units. As I said, I think Goku edges the Goku event because of the way he's... Not even the way he's built, it's just you're not running through it as quick as Frieza, which means you have a chance to build him up. Not that you really need to all that much, because full power straight for Goku at the end, he will have type advantage against. You have more chance of building him up. And then also Frieza has the disadvantage of losing the attack and defense plus 100% after 7 turns, and then already gets an attack plus 50%, which Goku has more than that anyway because he gets the 59%. But then also there's pros and cons for both the Goku event. As I said, you're not running through it as fast with Goku, which means you can build him up a bit. Which then again you can also as a pro for Frieza because he's running through it so quickly by getting those crits off, and he also gets the bottom half of his passive off, where he's getting the extra attack plus 50% because he's facing a super type enemy, and you're always facing a Goku enemy, which means he's also getting those crits off non-stop, just doing ridiculous amounts of damage. But at the same time, that is also, as I said, it's a good and bad problem to have. It is a double-edged sword as well, depending on what team you're running him on. Of course, if you take him on, I don't know, for example, probably what I'm going to do soon in the video, which is, you know, do Space Traveling Warriors. If you have units on your team, like the 2 free-to-play callers, the Easy AGL one and the Tech one, who need to build up their attack and defense, or are they both attack and defense, or one of them defense? Essentially, they stack defense, which is why they're there. So if you need to build up other units on the team, or maybe in a scenario where you don't have much choice of who you take, so you need to take them, but in general the sentiment still applies, which is if you have units on the team that need to be built up in an event like the Goku event, and you have Frieza that's just molly-whopping Goku left, right, and center for ridiculous damage, you're like, this is great, I'm flying for it. Obviously, the deeper you get in, them units won't be built up a lot, including Frieza himself, because you've seen it as well when we've taken him into the Legendary Goku event. If Frieza isn't built up a decent amount, which I've never been able to do because you can't really stall with him because he does so much damage, by the time you get to full power SJ4 Goku, where he has type disadvantage, Frieza can take a bit of damage on a basic, not as much as others, because you're probably going to build it up a little bit, especially with the built-in additionals. Getting Ultra Super Attack off is quite easy because the Frieza units share such similar links. You know, you can get his defense up a bit, but while having that type of advantage, he's going to be taking quite a bit of damage, especially on Super Attack. You might not die, like, you might not get one shot if you have full health, but you will take a lot of damage, especially in an event where, you know, items are limited by only having 2. So yeah, there definitely is pros and cons for both when it comes to Goku event, but I don't know, off the top of my head, is Goku better for the Goku event because you have more of a chance to build him up a bit and having the type of advantage against Goku at the end, the full power straightforward Goku? As I said, there's pros and cons for both, but I think Goku just slightly, and I mean very slightly, just edges it. As I said, Frieza does lose out on 100% on attack and defense after 6 turns. He does have type disadvantage. You can't build him up as much, you know, to kind of counteract some of that type disadvantage and the damage you'll be taking at the end. It does affect some of the other units on the team, but then to counter that, you could build a team that's suitable for him. But maybe in terms of the units that are good for like Goku event, maybe you can't really. I don't know, there's definitely a lot of pros and cons to weigh up both of them on Goku event. Don't get me wrong, they're still both amazing in the event. But I think Goku just slightly, and I mean just ever so slightly, edges it in terms of who's better in that event. In terms of this, as I said, I definitely think Frieza edges it. I mean, straight away from his passive, as I said, with the, you know, the attack and defense plus 100% for 6 turns, he definitely edges it more because you're more likely to utilize that, and you can utilize that, especially going into new battles. He gets the attack and defense plus 100% back, and then even better case when you're facing super class enemies, you're doing even more damage and utilizing still the 100% on top of the extra damage he does against super class enemies. And then if there is a Goku, like what we saw the other day when we took him into SBR, he will molly-whop the Goku and make your life just probably a little bit easier with one less enemy to deal with. Or if it's a Goku enemy where there's like 1 of them or 2 of them, he will get that Goku's health down very, very quickly. So yeah, I definitely think Frieza edges it here in SBR and ESBR, but Goku just slightly, and I mean just slightly, because Frieza is amazing in Goku event. I think Goku just edges it there. But I mean, I think that just shows props about how good and how busted both of these units are. I mean, I think that's fair to say. I think it just shows how good both of them are. I think if there was a legendary Frieza event in the game at this point, I think it would be very tough to kind of tell these units apart. Or maybe Goku would completely edge it because of that. But if there was a Frieza event, and I mean, I've said this before, same with Bardock. If there was a Frieza event and you took the transforming Bardock and this Goku into that event, it's literally just a wash. It's a whitewash, an absolute whitewash. Like, you would just absolutely just clear house if there was a Fighting Legend Frieza event. Which means probably later down the line, eventually when we will get one, because we most likely will get one with Vegeta having one on JP now. They're probably going to have to do something to counteract Goku, because otherwise it's just going to be easy. But then there's nothing really counteracts in Frieza, apart from the type disadvantage, which means you can take quite a bit of damage. Maybe just the final stage or the final phase of a Frieza event would end up being a Fizz unit. Counteract a bit, or maybe there'd be some form of damage reduction. I don't know, but you see what I'm saying. Like, they are both very good. And I said, in terms of how close it is in the Goku event, how good Goku does in SBR and ESBR. I mean, you've just seen it here. We've literally been recording for not even, what, 15 minutes. We've been recording for 12 minutes 50 right now. Or I have anyway. And we've just completely flown through ESBR. I do think Frieza just edges ESBR, Goku only just edges Goku event, but I said, for me to go only just shows you how busted and how good both these units are. But that's Goku in ESBR. As I said before, if you do want to see me take on SBR, even though it's easier than ESBR, which is why I've never done it really, and I can do that for you as well, but if not, then completely makes sense. That's why I haven't been doing it. Let me know what you think about these two units. I think they're probably two of the best units in the game. Maybe not better than LRUI Goku or LRUI AGL Goku, or AGL UI Goku should I say, but they are definitely up there. They are very, very good. I'm going to end this one here. If you have enjoyed, don't forget to drop a like, subscribe if you're new, and I'll see you in the next video, guys. And peace!